You are listening to Woodland Walks, a podcast for the Woodland Trust, presented by Adam Shaw. We protect and plant trees for people to enjoy, to fight climate change and to help wildlife thrive.
Well, as we head towards Christmas and New Year beyond that, many people will be looking back at what the past year brought them and indeed looking to the next year to see what things they want to do or what challenges they'll face. And I thought this was a good time for us to do that too on this podcast. Now, I have now done over 50 Woodland Walk podcasts for the Woodland Trust. And so there's lots to pick from of some of my highlights over those 50. And I want to share just a few clips of those. But before we get to those clips, I wanted to share a chat I had with Darren Moorcroft, who is the Chief Executive of the Woodland Trust. And I began by asking him for his reflections on the challenges and achievements of the past year.
So I think throughout 2025, probably the greatest challenges that we faced have been a range of things, but I'd say probably the greatest has been the kind of political environment in which we're operating. Now, as an organisation, we are apolitical, so we advocate on behalf of woods and trees, and it's felt a little bit like in 2025, there's been a growth agenda that's been versus nature and versus the environment and versus woods and trees, rather than thinking about them being an integral part of and actually underpinning our entire economy. So that's been a real challenge for us to continue to step up to and make the case for why woods and trees for people and nature are so really important. And I think that then plays into some of the great achievements that the trusts have had. It's not only been a case of taking the urgency of the cause that we are fighting for and growing the relevance and resonance of the organisation's voice so that we can stand up for people and who care about trees. The great thing about the Woodland Trust is our supporter base is really ethos sort of centred. So all of our estate is free and open to all, regardless of whether you are a member of the trust. And that means that people aren't buying their way into the benefits that woods and trees give them. They are understanding that the benefits should be there for everyone and for nature. And therefore, it's really a strong argument when talking to decision makers at any level of government, whether that's local government, metro mayors, or in the devolved administrations or Westminster. There's a real power to the voice that the Woodland Trust has for woods, trees, people and nature. And people care about woods and trees, as we saw with incidences like the Sycamore Gap and the White Webb's Oak in Enfield. When those trees are damaged, destroyed, then there's a real outpouring of grief, it's fair to say, because people care about this part of our natural heritage, which is really important in their individual lives, but actually for society as a whole.
Well, there'll be more from Darren a little later on, but first, let's now go to one of my favourite clips. This is from a podcast where I met presenter and naturalist Kate Humble. Well, in early spring I went on a woodland walk in Wales with presenter, author and farmer Kate Humble, who was taking me around what promised to be some amazing woodland with her dogs. But as is increasingly common in these podcasts, we of course had to begin with me getting absolutely and entirely lost. This is an absolute disaster. Although I am bad at directions, this is not my fault. So Kate sent me a pin because she said, well, this is going to be hard to find my place. She sent me a map pin. I followed the map pin. Look, I'm here. I don't know if you can hear this. You probably can't hear this. This is the gate that's locked, which is across some woodland path. So I can't get there. And of course, there is no phone signal. So I'm going to have to drive all the way back to some town to find a phone signal, and I'm already late. Oh, I'm so stressed. I have managed to find a village where there is a phone signal. I've managed to call Kate, and Kate has clearly got the measure of me and has told me to give up. And she is now going to get in her car and find me in this village, and I will follow her back. In the meantime, we have passed Google Map pins back and forwards, which apparently tell her that I'm sitting outside her house, but I really am nowhere near her house. So I seem to have broken Google, which, well, that's a first. Anyway, I got a banana here, so if she's a long time, I have dinner. Meantime, I'll just wait. This'll never happen. This will actually never happen. We found Kate. We found her. So yeah. So well, you're leading me off with your two dogs.
I am. I'm leading you off into one of the most beautiful, I think. I mean, obviously I'm a little bit biased, but it is one of the most important areas of ancient woodland in Britain. This is the Wye Valley. We're the lower Wye Valley, so we are the bit really where the River Wye is in its sort of last bit of its journey. It's risen in mid-Wales, about 136 136 from here. I know that because I walked the whole route.
Really?
Yeah.
We're not doing that today, are we?
No, we're not.
Okay.
No, I promise.
Okay.
I promise, Adam.
Good.
So yes, and we are basically about 5 or 6 miles from where it flows into the River Severn and then out into the Bristol Channel. And the woods around here are a lovely mix of broadleaf. So we're walking through broadleaf woodland now, and this is what I walk out of my front door. Aren't I lucky?
You are lucky.
I'm so lucky. So we've got a lovely mix of broadleaf woodland now, and we're just coming into that time of year, which is the time of year that makes everybody's spirits lift. Because we are coming into spring. Yeah. And if we actually just stop just for a second, you can hear that's a blue tit calling. Right. And I mean, this isn't the perfect day for birdsong, but the birdsong was really picking up. And that's the lovely thing about living alongside woodland. So even in the winter, even when you don't think there are any birds at all, what you hear in these woods is that's a very, very bad impression of a great spotted woodpecker. We're going to cut off piste a little bit and head down here.
Is this a precursor warning that I'm about to get bumps and scrapes? And
this is a precursor warning that you might. Yes, you might.
Yeah, I might. Okay, fine.
It's quite a steep descent.
That's fine. Just as long as my face is my fortune.
Of course.
As long as that's safeguarded throughout this, that'll be fine. Okay.
It'll be a soft landing.
Okay, well that's good. Yeah, lots
whatever
of leaves
you say, lots of leaves.
So I mean, I thought we were going to chat about your conversion to nature and everything, but actually that's a lot of nonsense. This has been a constant in your life.
Well, it's been. I mean, coming to Wales. So I did live in London. After I left home.
Exactly. I mean, you didn't choose a nature career, did you? I mean, you're involved now. We can talk about that. But first, what was your first career?
Well, I mean, career always seems such a grand word, and that you've planned it.
Yeah. Okay. So your accidental career.
So my accidental career. Well, I had this idea that that I wanted to work in television. Although, again, I don't really know where that came from. We're going just down here. Part of me also wanted to be a safari guide.
Right, good. I can see the appeal of that.
When I was 19, having never really been abroad at all, because again, our generation didn't really go abroad, as a matter of course, and So I went to Africa when I was 19,
Sorry, we're not talking on a holiday.
No, it was it was probably a rebellion.
Right. You went as far away as your parents as
Yes,
you went.
yes.
I'm not going out for the evening. I'm popping off to Africa.
I'm popping off to Africa, and I don't know when I'll be back.
Right. Yeah.
One of those.
Good exit line.
And I think it was that journey that turned my mind to really re-look and re-examine the natural world and think it's extraordinary. It's extraordinary. It's mind-blowing in every way. And so even though I then came back and thought I want to have this sort of career in telly, what I really wanted to do in my career in telly was work for the Natural History Unit.
Right. And is that what you did?
No.
And do you feel, you feel passionate about it, do you feel evangelical about it?
Yes.
So what, do you have a prescription to how to bring others on side?
I wish it didn't mean... I wish you didn't have to ask me that question. I wish it didn't have to be an on-side.
Do you feel that's an unfair question? Or
No, I don't. I think it's a very fair question because lots of people don't feel or perhaps don't experience the advantages of the natural world, or they haven't been given the opportunities to properly understand the impact that it can have on us, and all those impacts are positive. There's loads of science, and it was talked about endlessly during the pandemic about how green spaces are good for our mental health, blue spaces are good for our mental health, being outdoors, being in nature, listening to birdsong, seeing plants grow. All those things are good for us, but we've got to a place where we've been so divorced from it, where we look for our pleasures in shopping malls and online, and we forget that actually all we need is right here.
One of the themes that has come up over our 50 or so podcasts many times is the fact that a lot of people feel rather lost in the environmental debate. They know there's problems but don't feel they can do very much about it. And that's an issue I asked Darren Moorcroft, the Woodland Trust CEO, to address.
I suppose in the face of some really big challenges that we face, from climate change to nature loss, it can sometimes feel that is such a big job. What can an individual do to play their part? And that might be that they can plant a tree if they have the opportunity, or if they're managing land, they are able to integrate trees into that land. But lots of us don't have that opportunity. So being a supporter of the Woodland Trust, giving a membership to the organisation, regular contributions, adds real value. And it adds real value in a number of ways. The first of which is it gives that greater sense of voice when we as an organisation and me as chief executive can walk into what can be considered the corridors of power and say, people care about woods and trees, they care about nature, and they care about the benefits of those woods and trees for people. So it gives a real point to the sword when we're doing our advocacy. But the other way as well is, if you don't own large parts of chunks of the UK, then actually what your contribution can do is be placed together with lots of others, and we can make a difference with you and on your behalf. So, most individuals across the UK can't restore peatland. They can't plant new forests, but we can, and we have done, and we will do, and continue to do so. And the only way we can do that is through those contributions that individuals make, which may on the surface only look like a small part of a bigger jigsaw, but without those small pieces, we don't able to create the picture that everybody wants to see in the landscape.
Well, that's Darren talking about landscapes, which reminded me of another podcast in which I met a famous explorer who had, I suppose, relearnt the skill of navigating the landscape without any tools, maps, compasses, or computers? Well, today I'm off to meet a writer, navigator and explorer who has led expeditions in 5 continents, and I'm told is the only living person to have both flown solo and sailed single-handedly across the Atlantic. He's known as the natural navigator because he has learnt how to find your way through the natural world, really by looking at the clues that nature provides us.
There's a very widespread feeling that we ought to connect with nature, that we should feel something, that if we just go and stand in a wood, that it should somehow magically make us feel something. But actually, our brains have evolved to be doing things and to be understanding things. And if we think about the animal kingdom, which we're obviously part of, we're not the fastest by a long way, we're not the strongest by a long way, we don't have the best senses. But the one thing we do really, really well, our one trump card, is an ability to take in a landscape and understand the patterns and build a more interesting and meaningful picture from what we see than any other creature can. So every single organism, including every single tree, is full of meaning, which is another way of saying nothing is random. And if we just come around the side of this one, I'll be able to show you, hopefully, and this one will be a good one to... So a nice introduction to the idea that nothing is random is that if you ask anybody to draw a tree, you'll get a symmetrical tree. Symmetrical trees, of course, don't exist. When we think about it, we know that. Every single tree appears as a unique individual, and that means that there's a reason for all the asymmetries and the differences we find. I mean, as we look at this one here, we can see it's not symmetrical. There's more tree on the left side as we look at it, pretty clear asymmetry. So noticing that it's not symmetrical on its own is not fascinating, but knowing that we get most of our light from the southern side and that every tree is harvesting light, and we put those two pieces together, and that tree is clearly showing us that south is out this way.
Right. Is that true?
It is. Yeah, I'm pretty confident on that one.
I'll tell you what. Now, while a lot of the work of the Woodland Trust involves protecting what we have, a lot more is about creating new woodland in areas which didn't previously have it. And that's why I wanted to include this exciting podcast about a whole new landscape creation program. Well, today's podcast is a bit of an unusual one because I'm off to an abandoned golf course in Cheshire overlooking Liverpool, not far away in fact, and the vision is to create this once golf course into a thriving mosaic of habitats including lush broadland, woodland, grassland meadows and wooded glades dotted with wild flowers. Throughout the site they're creating a network of grassy paths so people can walk through them and get far-reaching views of the Welsh borders, the Western Pennines and the Bowland Fells, along with, of course, Liverpool and the Mersey estuary. And very excitingly, the man actually who's running all the tree planting there is also in a band, and it's his music and his band's music you can hear in the background. More about that a little later.
Travel, see the world.
Imagine you've got an oak tree and that throws down 40,000 acorns in usually every 4 years. Yeah. So it doubles its weight above ground.
So 40,000?
40,000, a mature oak, yeah.
A mature, it is worth pausing on that.
I know, it's incredible, isn't it?
A mature oak drops 40,000 acorns a year?
Every 4 years, roughly.
Oh, because it doesn't do it every year, do they?
No, so it has what they call a mast year, which is the year when everything's come together. It's usually based on the previous weather conditions. So that doubles the weight of the tree above ground. That throws all those acorns. Now you imagine they're going to be a couple of centimetres apart on the ground. They're not all going to make it. Yeah. What they're hoping is that something will take those away. Right. So a jay or a squirrel, they'll move those acorns away. Yeah. Not all of them will get eaten. In fact, jays let the acorn germinate, and then they eat the remains. Right. So they wait to see where the oak tree comes up, and then they come back and eat the remains of the cotyledon. So you imagine if all those were going to germinate, there'd be a mass rush, and what they're waiting for is for the parent plant to die.
Right.
And if that falls over, then they can all shoot up, but they're not all going to survive. So maybe only one, maybe two will survive out of those 40,000 if they're close to the tree. Now what we're doing here is, imagine there was the parent plant. The parent plant's not here. We've already spaced these out by this distance already.
Right.
So we've given them a better chance.
Fantastic. Well, it's been a great day for me, or a half day out here, and I'll definitely return. It's an amazing, positive place, isn't it?
Wonderful, yeah.
And the sun has shone on us. A sort of metaphorical smile from up above. Brilliant. Thank you very much, Esther. Well, from Liverpool, let's go back to the home of the Woodland Trust in Grantham, back to its CEO, Darren Moorcroft, for a final word from him.
I think my message for everyone as we enter into 2026 is think about the difference that you can make and how the Woodland Trust can help you. Now, that might be providing a membership subscription to the organisation in order for us to underpin the work that we do. It may be taking advantage and being one of the 7,000 plus schools and communities that we saw in 2025 stepping up and asking for free trees to plant into their community, or many other ways. But the real difference that you can make is to stand up for woods and trees in the conversations you have, in the actions that you take, because we as an organisation are fighting for the health of people and the planet with every tree. And that means improving the lives of people where they live, improving the lives of nature where they live, and also making sure that we broaden and deepen the support that woods and trees get, so that when people say, should we protect that tree? The automatic answer is yes. Should we restore that woodland? The automatic answer is yes. And should we create more woods and trees? Absolutely, the answer is yes. So that would be my message to people going into 2026.
And so, if you can afford it and want to become a member of the Woodland Trust, they would very much like to have you join up, and in fact, maybe give it as a gift this Christmas. But even if you can't afford it or don't want to, just by being the voice of nature, you will be one of its greatest friends. From all of us to all of you, this year and next, can I wish you many happy wanderings.
Thank you for listening to the Woodland Trust Woodland Walks. Join us next month when Adam will be taking another walk in the company of Woodland Trust staff, partners and volunteers. And don't forget to subscribe to the series on iTunes or wherever you are listening. And do give us a review and a rating. If you want to find out more about our woods and those that are close to you, check out the Woodland Trust website. Just head to the Visiting Woods pages. Thank you.